People ask me all the time, how'd you do it, Misty? How did you raise 4 kids, start a thriving nonprofit, which is really a business, work in full-time ministry, do all the things, and keep your home orderly? I don't know how I did it, but I learned in the early years of parenting that order was essential to the well-being of this mama and our family. My name is Misty Hughes, and I'm so glad you're here with me today on Mom to Mom Mentoring. You know, when I was a younger mom, raising 4 amazing human beings, I looked and longed for an older, wiser, Jesus-loving woman to walk alongside of me. You know, someone I could watch, ask questions, and learn from her life experience. Someone who didn't judge or condemn me. I longed for a mentor, and I struggled with finding one. So you know what I decided? To be a solution to the problem. Over the years, I have mentored thousands of women, both personally and through the resources I've developed. Beloved, I am your gratitude guide, your celebration coach, and your mom mentor. This podcast is to help support you on your journey as a marvelous mom. I want to share one of the biggest life lessons I learned from those early years: simplicity. So here on Mom to Mom Mentoring, my goal as your mom mentor is to keep it simple. If you find yourself juggling all the school schedules, the grocery runs, and that never-ending laundry mountain while trying to keep some semblance of sanity, if your house looks like a tornado blew through it and you're wondering how on earth people manage to keep it all together, this episode is for you. Today, we're diving into the world of organization, but not the Pinterest perfect kind that makes you feel less than. We're talking about the kind of organization that brings you peace, the ability to breathe, and the space to hear God's voice amidst all the chaos. Our guest today is the queen bee of organization, and trust me, she is not judging the laundry pile on your couch. She's here to share how real organization is a journey, not just a destination.
And now more than ever, I think our homes need to be a sanctuary and a place of peace and calm and order. And so that is just the biggest gift, is to get to be a part of helping people accomplish that.
On today's episode, I have the queen bee of organization herself, Kristen Christian. Kristen is a self-acclaimed hot mess and a naturally unorganized owner of a successful nationwide professional organizing company. Thousands of clients have realized the life-changing benefits of organization. Kristen's philosophy is simple. She loves to help create simple, realistic, sustainable solutions for you with compassion and always without judgment. Kristen, I am so excited you're here with me today. And this conversation is one that is enlightening and just plain fun. Hey, let's get started by defining what is organization.
Gosh, I love that. Organization to me really means order. It means peace, the ability to breathe easily, the ability to be present, to hear God's voice. It just is Notice I didn't say perfection.
No, I did not hear the word perfection. That definition makes me want it. When I first met that queen bee of organization, my thought was, oh, I need to be more organized. I'm sure you get that a lot.
It's so funny because once people find out I'm a professional organizer, like, oh my gosh, your house must be so perfect. And, you see them kind of step back and they think you're going to judge. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're all in this together. It's a journey, not a destination to get there. So I just always remind people, well, I need organization too, because I've got 4 kids and life is crazy and going, and we're all in that space of just so busy. And the thing that makes me sad and what I see so much and why I love, love, love what I get to do is that we are, as Americans, we're consumers. We're always consuming things. We're going Mach 80. So there's this influx of stuff coming in. Stuff's easier to get. It comes in less than 24 hours. So then pretty soon we're serving our homes, we're serving our stuff rather than the other way around. And now more than ever, I think our homes need to be a sanctuary and a place of peace and calm and order. And so that is just the biggest gift is to get to be a part of helping people accomplish that.
What does it look like for me to serve my stuff?
To have to literally move stuff in order to cook dinner, to have to move stuff to get into bed, to have to move stuff to sit on the couch, to always have like a receiving department at your front door because of all the packages coming in, to be stressed about your finances because of everything that's coming in. So to not be able to find things, to feel this sense of disarray, angst, and unease. I've had a client tell me that when the garage door went up at the end of the day, they wanted to turn their car around and go back to the office. Like that kills me. So to me, that's serving your stuff and serving your home
Okay.
where it should be the other way around.
That brings a lot of clarity and allows me to ask that question. Am I serving my stuff as I look at the pile on my couch over there? Kristen, have you always been organized? I would love to hear your organization journey.
No, absolutely not. I am so not naturally organized. It's not how my head thinks. I'm truly a big old hot mess. But I found organization as almost like a magic tool or a wand that helped me be a better version of myself. I've got 4 kids. When you're setting up home and life is crazy and busy, and it seems like all that is happening is stuff coming in. And so I realized very quickly that my habits and the way I was going about things were not going to work. They weren't going to serve me well, right? I became almost infatuated with organization and hungry for more knowledge on that. And then I would just kind of watch people. I had some people in my life that were very much naturally that way. I would stand in awe of those people and then kind of would emulate some of their habits that I saw. It's a lifelong journey for me. There's seasons in my life that I'm better at it or more orderly than others.
So, did you just wake up one day and say, I think I'm going to pursue organization? Where did your aha moment come from?
I don't know if there was ever an aha moment like that where it's so crystal clear, but I do remember in our first home at the tiny house, it's like the size of a shoebox and having my first baby. And there's just stuff upon stuff upon stuff coming in. And I was very quickly feeling all those kind of those emotions that I just talked about when you're serving your stuff and you're serving your own. That was a lot for me. I was longing for order and simplicity and calm in a season of my life that was anything but. I think I did early on in my mothering career realize that I gotta create that or I'm gonna drown in all of this.
And since it wasn't a natural thing for you, you had organization mentors, whether
Yeah.
they knew it or
Yeah.
not.
Oh my gosh, my Aunt Betsy to me is like the ultimate bee. I mean, she just was always just so orderly and organized and just how she did things. And my best friend, who's my business partner, same thing. I just followed people that I loved, but then also did a lot of research and reading.
Many of the listeners to Mom Mentoring are young moms that are trying to start a business or out working the 9 to 5. You were still very much in the parenting mode when you started Be Organized. Your kids weren't out of the house. How did you manage it all?
I'd love to say I did it so fabulously and I had boundaries and I achieved that perfect work life balance I was going for. But the irony is, no, not so much. You know what? My kids and my husband have been awesome supporters from day one. And I had to let go of a lot of things. I had to let go of perfection. I had to let go of being everything to everyone, which I think in the end was probably really good for all of us. I had to simplify my expectations of what does dinner look like? Keeping it real, I think is really hard in our day and age of parenting. But I'm not going to lie, building a business is hard work and you sacrifice. My kids sacrificed, but we're celebrating our 9th anniversary of Be Organized. And yeah, it does. It feels amazing.
Congratulations. The confetti is falling. That is so exciting, Kristen. I do have another question, real quick. Is there a psychology in organization?
Oh my gosh, yes. We tease that we are psychologists and marriage therapists and all of that. I always say if you were to go to a doctor and say you're having migraines, he's not going to throw a bunch of medicine at you. He's going to determine what's going on. Do you wear glasses? Do you wear sunglasses? How much caffeine do you drink to figure out what's the root cause of your migraines? Well, we do the same thing with organization. I think all too often people think, oh my gosh, I'm going to go to the Container Store or somewhere and buy a bunch of organizing material. Therefore, I am organized. But no, really what you've done is brought a whole bunch of new stuff into yours, right? And so to me, organization really, it's got to be customized and it's got to be sustainable. And so we work with our clients to determine what their relationship is with their stuff. You've got to get to the root of, are you a crammer, jammer, stacker? Are you a memory keeper? Everybody has a relationship with their stuff. We have created actually 7 profiles that helps you to define what is your prominent or primary profile. Sometimes I'll present them and people will be like, I'm all about that. But it depends on what season of life you're in. Example, when I was a young mom and it felt like the kids were just growing so fast, it was hard for me to let go of even pajamas they'd outgrown. And any little thing they've scribbled on, I wanted to hold on to, and doctor's notes from the well visit because I was being a memory keeper, right? Now, in a different season of life, I'm like, get it all out. Got the things that really bring me joy and bring me those happy memories, but I don't need all of it. So you see how different seasons of your life.
Ooh, it sounds like it might be a really good idea to know my organization profile. How do I find that out?
Well, we have a quiz on our website. You can go on and take it. Is it scientific? No, but it just starts the conversation and helps you realize, like, I am really being a just in caser in buying this. I don't really need it. Am I buying this just in case? Or so it really helps you not only with the items that are in your home now, but with your consumer habits. And that's what I think is so fascinating to help people with, because we don't want to just create order here and then you continue on with your same habits. We want to help tweak those habits.
Okay, it sounds like awareness of what my organization profile is pretty important. But then can I start to manage it?
Definitely different things work differently with different profiles. Obviously, I mentioned the memory keeper. There's going to be a lot of emotion wrapped up when you're a heavy memory keeping person or season of life. You're going to take longer and you're going
Okay.
to have to really honor those emotions, but keep movement forward. For example, I'm a crammer jammer stacker. I was raised by crammer jammer stackers. I am through and through a crammer jammer stacker, but I have found out ways to manage my Kramer Jammer stackiness that prevents total chaos. For the longest time, I had a ginormous, gorgeous, big ceramic bowl right on the end of my kitchen island. And that's where just random stuff went because I didn't want the clutter. I didn't have the time or the inclination in that season of my life to be dealing with every single little teeny item as it came in. So in that bowl, you would have mail, you would have permission slips, you'd have candy wrappers. So if I had one central place that things like that went, and then I built into my weekly time a time to empty, it was green bowl time. So then I didn't allow it to get too far. What true Kramer Jammer stackers might do is, well, this is full. Gonna put it in that closet. I'm gonna get another thing out, right? And you just cram and jam and stack yourself out of your own. Yeah, been there, done that.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like an amazing tool. I have a sneaky feeling I might be a Kramer Jammer stacker. Before I post this episode, I tell you what, I'm going to go take that quiz. And at the end of today's episode, I will tell you what my organization profile is. That'll be so much fun. Kristen, I'm wondering about the mom that is out there saying, this all sounds great, but where do I even start?
Well, it can be so paralyzing and so overwhelming, especially if you're just at a crazy nutty season of life. And when you've got littles, it is. So first, I would say take a deep breath. Give yourself grace, realizing you're doing so many important things. Keeping your kiddos safe and loved and guided and fed is so much more important than organization. So letting that go, let perfectionism go. I think in this day and age with social media right at our fingertips, there's such an opportunity to self-judge. So that's always my first thing is just give yourself grace. Remember, it's a journey, not a destination. And then start small. Start little itty bitty things that you can do now to help your future self. Start with a drawer. If you don't have time for a drawer, start with your purse. Start with the front seat of your car. I didn't say your whole car. Start small so that you can have one little space of order that you can go back and visit and get all excited about. And then that will help you continue on. Then also, I think watching what's coming in your door. Become a really hardcore gatekeeper. I always say there's 3 rules to getting and staying organized. They're simple, but they're not easy. The first is own less. You got to own less. And I'm saying all of us, because as Americans, we all own way too much. And that really is the number one culprit of why we feel so unorganized and cluttered. And then the second is to assign a home for everything else in your. So if you've decluttered, you've power purged, you've done all that, you're being a good gatekeeper. But if you haven't assigned a home for everything in your home, chaos and clutter is going to reign. And so that to me is like the holy grail of organization.
I used to tell my kids, if it doesn't have a home, its home will be in the trash.
Yep.
I will find a home for it.
Yes. You don't want finding a home for it.
Yeah. I was a single mom and I had 4 kids and we had stuff. But at the end of the day, everything had to be in its home. Now, a home might be just a tub with all the cars,
Right.
but they were at least home.
And I think that's a good point you make, that they weren't perfectly organized, but they were all in the home and contained. And that to me is organization. So many times people think, oh, but I have to label it beautifully. And no, you don't. Have a universal home for that. And to me, that's organizing. If you have a drawer for all of your socks and they're thrown in there and not connected, that's still organized because they're in a home. They're not all over your bed or on the floor. They're organized. They're in a home. And so give yourself grace for that.
Gosh, that makes me feel like a winner.
See, you're organized. But it's a 2-part. That first point, rule of getting and staying organized is own less and then assigning a home. But what you're putting in that home is only what you use and need, right? So you've gotten rid of the rest. So naturally, owning less and assigning a home creates order.
Okay. After we're done with this conversation, I'm probably going to go get rid of about 20 pair of socks.
Yes. Because you go for the same socks over and over and over and over. The same thing. You go for the same spices over and over and over. Like I always challenge people. I bet you there are 8 to 10 spices you use over and over, and the rest sit there until one shining moment now in a 3-year period that you use it. So get rid of it and just being really honest with yourself of what it is that you need.
We've covered 2 of the 3. Own less, assign a home. What's number 3?
It's not exciting. It's not earth shattering, but it can be life changing. And that is maintaining the order that you've worked so hard for. You did exactly that. Of at the end of the day with your kiddos, everything has to go back in their home, right? If you maintain, you're never going to get to the point where you feel like you're drowning.
But how do I get to the place where it's maintainable?
You do have to set aside time and strategy to owning less and assigning a home for everything in those spaces. So that's where we go back to start small, give yourself some goals. But be honest with yourself, it's not going to happen overnight. But once you get to that point where you have organization, then the maintenance is key. That becomes the most important step because we're humans. We're going to go back to our old habits. I always do a weekly reset. Every Sunday, I reset. There's all these steps that I have in my Sunday reset that helps me maintain order, that sets my future self up for success in the coming week. When I'm doing that, I'm maintaining, I'm retweaking, I'm consolidating, throwing empty cracker boxes out. So if I'm doing that on a weekly basis, it never gets out of hand. And it really helps me feel kind of buttoned up and ready to go for the coming week. I like having it on Sundays because then I really get to unplug and just be on Saturdays. However, I'm in a stage of life. I've got older kids. I'm not changing diapers. I have more of that fluidity of time to really dedicate some significant part of my Sunday to that. That's how I've chosen to do it. But don't be an all or nothing kind of person. Have a Monday or a morning reset and an afternoon reset, an evening reset, or whatever it is that helps bring that order around. A little teeny amount of resetting now can greatly benefit your future selves. I'm going to do a little favor for my future self and do this right now.
For your future self. I really love that idea. It sounds like self-care. Now, I can't take credit for this quote, but I tell people all the time, if it doesn't get scheduled, it doesn't get done. So if I don't set a reset on my calendar, you know what? It just won't happen.
Right, because you can make all the lists in the world, and trust me, I love my list making and all that, but you can list and notate and all of that, but if you don't schedule the time to make it happen, it absolutely will.
How do I know what I need to reset?
We actually have a reset checklist. Sometimes I think if you just even use that different terminology rather than maintenance, it's reset. Maintenance sounds so boring, right?
Doesn't sound sexy at all.
I know, not at all.
Ooh, that is so great. I can't wait to get my hands on that reset checklist. I'll make sure to put the link for that in the show notes. I'm thinking about some young moms that are listening to this that might not have 2 hours on a Sunday evening to go through this checklist. We're all still struggling with perfectionism, right?
So some of that stuff needs to go off of there. Some of it's not important. Chunk it down and do a little bit at a time. Once we started getting phones and I always had a timer on me, that changed my life because I set timers for myself on everything. And so setting a timer is a powerful, powerful thing. So 5 minutes, you can do a lot for your future self in 5 minutes.
So this was a problem I had as a young mom. Have you ever read the book If You Give a Moose a Muffin?
Or if you give a mouse a cookie.
So I would start to clean the closet, doing well, but the closet never got cleaned, and I had 5 other projects started.
Guilty. Oh, that's human nature, but little ways that you can prevent that is setting a timer, really establishing a timeline for the said project beforehand. I've got 2 hours to do this. I'm going to set my timer for an hour and a half so that all the things that I pulled out of there that don't belong in there have to be relocated or taken to the trash, giving yourself time for that. So that's one way. Invite a friend over, have them help. That's the benefit of having a third party involved, is kind of keeping you tasked, and that third party's not emotionally.
I love the idea of having someone there just to help keep you accountable to the task. And if you have a friend, then you can go do it at their house the next week. Kristen, you talked a lot about simplifying, and I love to keep it simple. In fact, it's one of the things we talk about at the beginning of every mom to mom mentoring episode. But we have talked about a whole lot of different things that we can do, not just for us in the here and now, but for our future self. If you're going to leave a mom with just one thing, one little nugget for her heart, what would that one thing be?
Take a deep breath and just give yourself grace. There's so much of looking over your shoulder of how everyone else is doing it and feeling everybody else is doing it better. Make a list of what you do well in your home as far as organization. Write a list of where you succeed and excel in organization. And then again, I'm going to be a big writer of lists. Write a list of those areas that you want, and then just chunk it down and be realistic. Just be realistic.
Kristen, this has been such a fun and enlightening conversation with you today. I really appreciate you taking the time and helping us all live, lead, and love from a place of peace and joy through this gift of order. Thank you so much for what you do. I want to put a plug in for your Facebook group. I've joined your group, and it is so fun to go on and watch what you've got going on and your fun, engaging ways. How can moms get a hold of you?
Thank you so much for inviting me on. I've always just adored you and look up to you, and so honored to be here today. Beorganized.com is our website. You can get on there. There's lots of good stuff. You can subscribe to our Hello from the Hive, which is a fun monthly newsletter. We have franchised our concept, and we are in 37 markets as of right now. And then follow us on social, Instagram and Facebook. Lots of fun stuff. And I think you'll see that we're just really keeping it real and reminding people to meet themselves where they are and progress over perfection.
All right, mamas. I hope today's conversation has helped you take a deep breath and remind you that organization isn't about perfection. It's about peace, purpose, and making room for what really matters. Now, like I promised, I did the organization profile. I'm what you'd call a just-in-caser. I like to hold on to things just in case I might need them one day. But here's the thing. Whether you're a just-in-caser like me, or you've got your own unique style, there's grace for you on your journey. It's about finding what works for you and brings you peace. And speaking of finding peace, if you are ready to experience more calm, clarity, and confidence in your home and heart, I want to personally invite you to join my Transform Mom 6-week cohort. It's starting soon, and it's designed to help busy Christian moms like you reclaim your joy, live with intention, and get organized in a way that brings life and freedom. Head to the link in the show notes and join today. Spots are filling up, and I'd love to see you in there. Before we wrap up, don't forget to hit follow so you don't miss any future episodes. And if this conversation blessed you, share it with another mom who could use a little more peace in her life. Let's spread this message of grace and encouragement far and wide. Thanks for tuning in to Mom Mentoring. Until next time, keep living, leading, and loving with a heart full of joy and peace.